Online casino games, poker, and sports betting have swept across 39 states, but not everyone is happy about that. Which states are working to bring online gambling in, and which states are working to keep online gambling out? That's what you're about to find out this week in gambling. Web-based casinos in New Jersey are now making more money than the actual real casinos in Atlantic City. And as more and more states jump on the internet betting bandwagon, others are starting to pump the brakes a bit or even throw things in reverse. This week, we're updating you on 20 states currently dealing with online gambling legislation, starting alphabetically with Alabama. Efforts to legalize sports betting there have failed again. A bill to regulate the activity was shelved without a vote, killing any hope of legalized gambling for the next several years. Lawmakers in Arkansas wanted online casinos, but they didn't have enough support this year, so a study on the issue has been commissioned and regulation talks will resume in the future. Sports betting hopes in Georgia have been sent packing despite support from the governor as the state legislature decided to adjourn for the year without even considering the matter. And in Hawaii, a huge surprise, even though casino legislation failed again, an online sports betting bill passed both the House and the Senate, and the governor said he would support a bill if it reached his desk. However, that bill got stuck in committee and the legislative session ended. So, Hawaiian sports betting is not happening this year, but this is still a huge step forward for a state that has never allowed gambling. And that brings us to the I's and our next stop, Illinois. Lawmakers there have introduced bills to regulate online gambling, but state casinos and labor groups have pushed back, fearing a loss of business and jobs. Both bills currently sit in committees. Next, a potential setback in Kansas as lawmakers have blocked the renewal of all sports betting licenses for operators. And if nothing is done to change this by August 31st, 2027, then sports betting won't be in Kansas anymore. It's a different story up in Maine, however, where tribal gaming wants to expand online. Lawmakers are now considering a bill to allow web-based casino games, and a vote is expected within weeks. But moving to Maryland, it's more bad news. A state senator there wants to end online sports betting regulation by 2026. And while his bill is unlikely to advance, it is worth keeping an eye on. Meanwhile, sports betting in Minnesota took a hit recently as a Senate committee deadlocked on a bill that would have allowed sports betting on tribal land and mobile devices. Plus, it's ugly down in Mississippi, where a mobile sports betting bill was passed by the House and the Senate, but died in a 6-person committee that could not reach a compromise. Rounding out the M's, we come to Missouri, where legal sports betting was supposed to go live this summer. However, issues with the rulemaking process have pushed that back. But don't worry, it's still happening. Once they get those rules in place, regulated sports betting will move forward. But instead of it being in June, it will probably happen closer to September. And as we cross the halfway point on our list, we come to the ends, as in Nebraska, where a Senate resolution for online sports betting passed an initial floor vote. And if approved, the issue would go before voters during their 2026 election. The governor has already indicated he will sign a sports betting bill if it makes it to his desk. And speaking of 2026, New Hampshire has an online casino bill under committee review. If passed, it would bring internet betting to the state for everyone 18 years and older by January 1st. Also, New York State wants to regulate online casino games after watching New Jersey rake in $2.4 billion from it last year. But The governor has not included web-based casinos in her 2025 budget plans, so any hopes for regulation this year are falling fast. Things are also messy in Oklahoma, where a sports betting bill passed the Senate but was pulled before a vote from a House subcommittee as problems between the governor and the state's tribal gaming interests persist. The governor wants an open market, but the tribes say that they have the exclusive rights to gambling in the state. Good luck working that out. And then there's Pennsylvania, where online poker has been live for some time. And they just joined the multi-state online poker network. That means that players there will soon be able to play at the same virtual tables as those in New Jersey, Michigan, Nevada, Delaware, and West Virginia, hopefully before the beginning of the World Series of Poker this summer. That wasn't the only poker news this week, however, as BetMGM Poker was also busy pooling players across state borders, and our friends at Casino City covered it all. Other headlines include illegal online casinos being targeted in Michigan and a six-figure slot jackpot at Hard Rock Atlantic City. You can keep up with all of these stories and more when you visit them at online.casinocity.com. And finally this week, with only 4 states left to discuss, we're up to the S's, and that means South Carolina, where a pair of bills to regulate sports betting are circulating in the House and Senate, and one would amend state laws to allow the activity. However, the governor is not a fan of gambling and will probably veto any legislation. Now we come to Texas, where the governor is in favor of online sports betting, but many legislators are not. A proposed constitutional amendment would allow residents to vote on the issue. If passed, Texans could decide whether to have sports betting or not for themselves on November 4th of this year. That brings us to Vermont, where online sports betting is legal, but a state representative wants to put an end to that. His proposed legislation would repeal sports betting laws and criminalize the activity, along with the lottery. That bill is currently in committee. And in Wyoming, where legislation to allow online casinos met with fierce opposition from tribal gaming, who say legal sports betting in the state has already cut into their revenue. That bill was discussed in committee for over an hour before a motion to move forward failed to receive a second. And that's where it died. Hey, we hope you enjoyed our state-by-state online gambling update. We publish new material every week, so be sure you subscribe and follow to catch all of our new videos. Cold beer.